Good morning, Year 3, and welcome to our new text today. So we've got The Pied Piper of Hamelin today by Robert Browning. Wonderful story, by the way, if you've never read it before. This is not quite the full story of it, this is more of a sort of poem of it, but still a very good one. So here we go. Pied Piper of Hamelin. We're going to read through the text first, then we're going to go through the answers as we normally do, so let's get to it. Rats. They found the dogs and killed the cats, and bit the babies in the cradles, and ate the cheeses out of the vats, and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles. Split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests inside men's Sunday hats, and even spoiled the women's chats by drowning their speaking with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. Into the street the piper stepped, smiling first, a little smile, as if he knew what magic slept in his quiet pipe the while. Then, like a musical adept, to blow the pipe his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled. And out of the houses the rats came tumbling, green rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, grey rats, tawny rats, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, cooking tails and pricking whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the piper for their lives. From street to street he piped advancing, and step by step they followed dancing, until they came to the river Weser, wherein all plunged and perished. So not quite our traditional poem there, is it? Doesn't all perfectly flow and rhyme well, but yeah, still a very good story though. If you've never heard of the Pied Piper of Hamelin, I strongly urge you to read that story, find it and read it. It's a brilliant story. But yeah, here we go. Let's go through the comprehension, because that's why we're here. Vocabulary, question 1. Where did the rats find the cheese? Tick 1. So we've got in boxes, in vats, in nests, in kegs. So again, this is a tick 1. Where did the rats find the cheese? If we just reread the text again, find the cheese. There we go, line 3, and ate the cheeses out of the vats. So in vats is the answer to that one. Question 2, look at the third verse. Find and copy one word that shows the rats rushed out of the houses. Find and copy one word which shows the rats rushed out of the houses. So out of the houses, how do they do that? Find and copy the third verse. 2, 3, and out of the houses the rats came tumbling. There we go. So find and copy one word. The only word I should be writing down is tumbling. No other words, just one word. It asks for one, so it's tumbling. Number 3, match the words from the poem with their meaning. So we've got plunged, perished and wrinkled. We've got died, fell and creased. So yeah, basically this is one you just need to know really, so I'm just going to show you what I've got so you can see the answers for that one. There you go. Okay, so it should be exactly that. So to plunge means to fall, to perish means to die, and to wrinkle something is to crease something. Okay, there you go. Yeah, sadly some of these are literally just you need to know the words. So again, the only way we can know more words is to read more books and learn more words. Right, retrieval. Look at the first verse. Write 3 bad things that the rats did. So look at the first verse. Write 3 bad things that the rats did. So basically, yeah, we need to read the first verse again. I'm not going to read the first verse again. I've basically made a list of all the different bad things the rats did, but obviously you only need 3 of them. So here's all the possible answers, but you only need 3 of these that I'm about to read you. So here's all the possible answers. Fought the dogs, killed the cats, bit the babies in the cradles, ate the cheese out of the vats, licked the soup from the cook's own ladles, split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests inside men's Sunday hats, and spoiled the women's chats. Any of those, okay, you need 3 out of all of those, and there's all your possible answers, okay? But as long as you've got 3 of those copied, okay, that's not a problem. Right, number 5. Using the information from the poem, tick one box in each row to show whether each statement is true or false. Yep, we're getting good at these now, hopefully. So let's read the first one. The rats were a nuisance, true or false? Again, this is kind of obvious, really. I mean, we've just listed all those bad things they did. We know that one is true. I'm not going to go through the evidence again. I've just read you a whole load of evidence. That one is definitely true. The rats were scared of the piper. We know that the rats were following the piper, don't we? They were following the piper for their lives. So, no, they were not scared of the piper, so false. And the rats swam away. If anyone knows the story, you'd know what happens, but it does actually say in the very final line, wherein all plunged and perished. Okay, and we just learned already that perished means died. Okay, so basically what happens at the end of the story, spoiler everyone, is that the rats dive into the river and they all drown. So, yeah, that one is false. They did not swim away. They all died. Question 6. What colour were the piper's eyes? Piper's eyes. Let's look back through the text. What colour were the piper's eyes? Right there, it is at the end of the second verse. And green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled. So what colour were the piper's eyes? Green and blue. Number 7, inference. Look at the first verse. How does the poem tell us that the rats were very noisy? Look at the first verse. How does the poem tell us that the rats were very noisy? Now bear in mind this is an inference question, so we need to use our brains for that one. So, I can still use the evidence to help me though. So they thought the dogs killed the cat. Something about noise we want. Nest inside Sunday hats. Shrieking and squeaking. That's, yeah. It's got to be the last bit, hasn't it, in that first verse? It's the last bit. So the shrieking and squeaking. So here's what I've written. It says that the rats were shrieking and squeaking. That's, yep. I've even put or. It says that the noise was like 50 different sharps and flats. Now, for anyone who's a musician would know the difference between sharps and flats, but that's basically referring to sort of the noise that they were making. So yeah, shrieking and squeaking is probably the most common one people are going to go for. That's the one I went for. But yeah, question 8. What was the piper thinking as he went into the street? What was the piper thinking as he went into the street? We've got 4 options. Take one thought. So was he thinking, I hope those rats stay indoors, my magic pipe is ready, I should have salted sprats for my dinner, or I wish I had my magic pipe? So tick one thought. I don't think it's anything to do about what he's thinking about what he wants for dinner, so no, not I should have salted sprats for dinner. Hope those rats stay indoors. I mean, sort of. I wish he had my magic pipe, but we know he's got his magic pipe, so no. He doesn't really want the rats to stay indoors, so does he? He wants to sort of drive them away. So really, it's my magic pipe is ready. My magic pipe is ready is the answer to number 8. Question 9. Was the piper right to drown the rats? Explain your answer. So, this is another one of those ones. We had one of these before where yes or no could be an option, depends on how we answer the question, okay? It's all down to how you answer it. There is no circle yes or no this time. This time it is literally explain your answer. So I'd still give it a yes or a no to begin with, because it's either yes he was right or no he was not right. But you have to explain your answer. So I've written 2 answers. I've written one for yes or one for no, because you could go either way with this. It all depends on how you have backed up and justified your answer. So I've said either yes, he was right because they were dangerous. For example, they were biting babies. Okay, so that is one way they are dangerous, and I think he could have been right for that reason. Or if I thought no, I could say no, he was wrong because it's not right to kill living things. He could have just led the rats away. He didn't actually have to kill them. So it could have been yes or it could have been no. It just depends on how you have answered your question. So again, if you do need some guidance on that one, do just drop me a message and I will be able to let you know if I think that was a good enough explanation to give you the mark for that one. But yeah. Question 10, summarising. So we've got this whole bit of text here. I'm not going to read it again because I've already read the text once. It's quite a big section. So it says, rewrite this part of the poem in your own words. Rewrite this part of the poem in your own words. So basically, I'm I'm sure people are going to find this one tricky, but you just need to almost summarise it. Well, it is summarising, isn't it? We know it's summarised because that's the bit it says in the question. You just need to give the general idea about what's happening in this bit. So rewrite this part of the poem in your own words. Explain what's actually going on, really. So we know in this part of the poem, it's all about listing all the different types of rats, and then what they actually do is that they follow the piper, isn't it? So here's what I wrote. I said, suddenly, hundreds of rats of all different shapes, colours and sizes started following the piper. That's how I've worded it, okay? Because we've literally got green rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, all that kind of stuff. And then about the fathers, mothers. So it's all the different types of rats. So I've said hundreds of different rats. They're all different shapes and sizes. So I've covered my bases there. I didn't have to go through all the specifics. I've covered them all, haven't I? All different shapes and sizes and colours. And what did they do? They started following the piper, didn't they? So it's right at the end, followed the piper for their lives. So that's it, isn't it? Suddenly, hundreds of rats of all different shapes, colours and sizes started following the piper. That's it. Question 10. Question 11. Predict. What do you think is the most likely to happen next? Tick 2. What do you think is the most likely to happen next? So, we've got the rats will attack the village again. The piper will go to prison for killing the rats. The piper will be treated like a hero for killing the rats. Or the piper will dive into the River Weser. So again, tick 2. So we've got rats will attack the village again. Well, we know that's not going to happen because he's drowned them. The piper will go to prison for killing the rats. Not sure about that one because I think they sort of saved the village by getting rid of the rats. The piper will be treated like a hero for killing the rats. Probably. And the piper will dive into the River Weser. So, the thing is, the piper's quite a magical person. So, yeah, kind of need to have a little think on that one. But if we just go through and sort of eliminate which ones we think it's definitely not. So it's going to be the piper will be treated like a hero for killing the rats. That's definitely correct. If I had to take a second one, it is tricky for a second one, to be honest. It is tricky for a second one. Yeah, piper will be treated like a hero. I mean, let's eliminate what it's not. Let's eliminate what it's not. The rats will attack the village again. Well, they won't, so it can't be that. Piper will go to prison for killing the rats. Well, he can't if he's a hero. He's a hero, so no, he wouldn't. It's got to be the piper will dive into the River Weser. Because I suppose he is sort of a magical figure, so maybe he would go into the river. Yeah, it's an odd one, that one. It is an odd one. The definite answer is definitely treated like a hero. The only other one that sort of makes sense is that he'd dive into the river, so yeah, it is a prediction, I suppose, so yeah, but that's got to be the closest. The other two just aren't anywhere near it, are they? So I'd go for piper would treat like a hero for killing the rats, and the piper would dive into the River Weser. Right, compare. The rats in the poem... question 12. Compare. The rats in the poem caused lots of trouble. Look at two of the things they did, and then explain which is the worst and why. So, which is the worst? Made nests in men's hats or biting the babies? So, look at the two things they did, and then explain which is the worst and why. So, which one of those do you think is the worst? Again, this is going to be down to what you think, but I mean, it's pretty much got to be biting the babies, hasn't it? Biting the babies has got to be worse than making nests in men's hats. That's got to be worse. So here's what I wrote. Biting the babies is worse than making nests in men's hats because it will hurt the babies and might give them germs. However, hiding in men's hats would just make a mess and it would not hurt anyone. Okay, so yes, hiding in men's hats is an irritating problem, but it's not worse than biting babies, is it? I'd like to think everybody put biting babies for that one. Because that is awful. Rats biting babies, we don't want that. So yeah, there you go. That's the answer to that one. Right, thank you very much. That is the end of set A for the comprehension of that one. So tune in tomorrow and we'll be doing set B for Pied Piper of Hamelin, going through the last set of questions for that one. So take care, and I will see you tomorrow.